We spoke to Jay Bilas before the show because Jay had some things going on. He's part of the ESPN's draft coverage. And there's some topics that have emerged. There's a report by ESPN's Pete Thamel that Dusty May is leaving the University of Michigan to take the Dallas Mavericks job, and that Shams is reporting that Giannis is expected to be traded prior to the draft tomorrow night. I didn't get a chance to talk in specifics to Jay Bilas about those. The Dusty May thing is just happening an hour ago, and we do talk about Giannis a little bit here as well. So I talked to Jay, and we started out talking about Darren Peterson. He's not the favorite to go to the Wizards. They have the number one pick, but he didn't work out for anybody, any other team. So I asked Jay to help me understand the logic of Darren Peterson.
I don't know if there is a logical explanation for the public on that one. We've seen it in the past when, it might be just to project that, hey, I'm the best player and I should be going number one. It is not going to deter any team from taking him. Like, nobody's going to go, hey, he didn't work out for us. That's not going to happen. I mean, if you recall, a player from Rutgers last year, Ace Bailey, did that, and Utah took him at number 5. So it's not the usual thing, but it's not horribly unusual that this kind of thing would happen. And it's a little bit different, but like when John Elway, Eli Manning, others have tried to quote unquote manipulate the draft in their favor. Maybe people didn't like it at the time, but they looked back on it and thought, hey, maybe that was a smart thing to do. He's not trying to avoid anybody. It sounds more to me like he's projecting, like, look, I'm not going to work out for you anyway. There's no reason for me to kick the tires of the local restaurants. I think I'm the best player, and whatever happens, happens.
How do you gauge ceiling and floor? Like Debanza, to me, it still has, like, he's unfinished. But I loved his attitude. I mean, he played. He was there, played hard. Peterson, of course, had the creatine issue, and can he hold up for 82 games if you can't hold up for 30? So I don't know if you look and you go, that guy to me could have a higher ceiling than anybody else in the draft. Does somebody stand out?
Well, there are a lot of players in this draft that stand out, and that's one of the things that makes this draft so compelling. Like, I don't know how you do it, Dan, in all your years, but I mean, I don't have a list of the best drafts. Like, okay, this is the second best draft I've ever been a part of. Like, '03 is kind of hard to turn away from with LeBron, Carmelo, Bosh, Wade, all that stuff. But this draft is the deepest of quality talent that I can recall, and my memory is pretty good. But one of the best things about it is at the top, there are 3 players, and arguably more, that you could justify as the number 1 overall selection, with Darren Peterson, AJ Debonsa, BYU, and Cameron Boozer of Duke, who was the National Player of the Year. And so Peterson's the most talented, in my view. Debonsa looks like he was built in a lab to play in the NBA. And I don't think any of these guys are you'll miss on. It's just a question of what's best, who's the best for you and what's best overall. And then Boozer, I think, is the best pure basketball player in this draft. But I've never been a part of a draft, with ESPN, where I heard more people say about more players. Like it might be 7 guys I've heard say he could wind up being the best player in this draft. I've never been a part of a draft where that's been said about as many guys in a single draft as this one. And I don't think it's going to go the way it's been slotted. I mean, I think we're going to see some surprises, and there'll probably be some trades, because this is the draft you want to be in.
Okay, give me the team that you think changes the draft.
Changes the draft. I mean, the real decisions are going to start probably at 4. I mean, the decisions up top are really important. And I do think this draft will probably be the same as any other, that we'll look back on this in 5 years and you'll say, we should have done it this way. There's never been a draft. Like I was doing some stuff the other day. I just decided to take the 15 all NBA players this year and look back at where they were drafted. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was drafted 11th in 2018 when he came out, and like hands up all those during that draft that said he's a future MVP. And, Brunson was taken 33rd. Jokic, first team, multiple time, 3-time MVP, was 41st in the draft. That means a number of teams had 2 chances to take him and didn't do it. And so it's not an exact science, but, I think Chicago at number 4, everybody seems to think that, or most people seem to think that that's going to be Caleb Wilson of North Carolina. But then there's a parade of guards, and it's kind of like, who do you like best? Because it's hard to differentiate and say, well, this guy's clearly better than the other guy. Michael Brown of Louisville, and Braden Burries of Arizona, Keaton Wagler of Illinois, who had 49 in a game this year. There were 9 freshmen this year that had 40 or more in a game. That's never happened in my lifetime.
And then you got A-Cup Jr.
Right, and who I left out, who a lot of people say he could wind up being the best player in the draft. First SEC player since Pete Maravich to lead the league in scoring and assists. I mean, it's like trying to guard a bowling ball coming down the alley at you. And he's an amazing scorer. His defense was questionable, but he couldn't afford to foul out. They had to keep him on the floor. And if I were him, I probably would have done the same thing. But he's tough as nails. He played through injury throughout the whole year, never tapped out. There are a bunch of guys that you don't have a lot of questions about. The only, some of the questions are like, there's this lingering thing in your mind about Peterson because of the cramping issue. But it was solved by the end of the year. Like by the end, I think it was the last 8 or 9 games, whatever it was. He averaged 32 minutes a game. That was not an issue. And if anybody questions it, like go back and watch the BYU at Kansas game where he had 18 points in the first half. He was 6 of 8, had 3 steals. There was no question who the best player on the floor was. And the cramping thing started at the start of the second half, and he didn't play in the second half. He played, a few possessions, and then he came out and didn't come back in. One of the questions I asked of myself at the time, because there was not much information. We weren't being told much. And in the absence of information, people speculate, in my view. So I was thinking, all right, what player that is on his way to 30 plus, maybe 40, in a game of that magnitude is just going to tap out because he doesn't feel like I just don't believe that. And I've sat down with the young man. He's quiet, but there were none of these questions when he was in high school. Nobody questioned his competitiveness. And throughout the season, up until later on, after the cramping thing became an issue, it seemed like most people were going, Peterson's the number 1 guy, period. And one last thing, Dan. So if you do, like, there's always that lingering thing in the back of your mind because we didn't see him the way we wanted to see him, and we didn't see what we saw in high school, and certainly the frequency of play. But so if you say, you're not going to take him at 1, kind of unreliable, but you'll take him at 2. Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. Now, if you think DeBonce is better and you're risk averse or whatever, that's fine. But at 2, at 3. I don't kind of get that logic.
Well, that's like NFL teams. They're going to take Brendan Sorsby off their board, but we understand why you might do this instead of, something like this situation. We're talking to Jay Bilas. He'll be on the call, draft coverage tomorrow. They start at 7 Eastern on the mothership in ABC. How much of an impact does Giannis's future have on this draft?
Quite a bit. It's taken up a lot of oxygen in the NBA offseason and a lot of discussion. And I don't mean to be dismissive of it because I'm not, but there's a part of me that right now is saying, just tell me when it's done. Like, I don't need the updates. Just, when it's done, let me know, because this saga's been going on for a long time. But I don't blame anybody. That's the way these things go, and everybody's got to get the best deal. But I don't know if it's going to happen before the draft takes place. Like, there was what I would call an artificial time limit put on it by ownership in Milwaukee. But it seems like it's going to get done. I just don't know when.
Have fun tomorrow night. Always great to catch up with you, Jay.
It's never fun without you, Dan. That was my favorite draft when you were going back and forth with David Stern.
Man.
It was awesome.
But I didn't Stephen A. Smith tap out of that draft because he didn't understand what Portland was doing. And he said, I'm done. Like, he stopped talking because he was upset with what the Trailblazers were doing. At least that's what I remember. I'm like, you're paid to talk here. You're not a fan where I'm going to turn off the TV. I just remember he kind of threw a fit because he didn't understand what the Blazers were doing.
Yeah, we were a little more out there back in the day. And, like, I lost my mind a few times in different drafts, and I look back on it going, what was I upset over? It wasn't my team. Like when the Knicks took Ronaldo Balkman, I think it was number 21, and Rajon Rondo was still on the board. I lost my mind. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, you put Ronaldo Balkman in the second round. Like, Rajon Rondo's still on the board, and he's Sebastian Telfair got drafted ahead of him. I go, Rondo's better. And I'm like, well, just because I think that, why am I getting mad? So I've got to soften things. But the best one ever was, I thought, Bill Simmons when Anthony Bennett was taken number 1 by Cleveland that year. I don't remember what year it was, but he lost his mind. It was fantastic. But yeah, we're a little more circumspect right now.
I love the honest reaction, though, because not every draft pick is a great draft pick. And this bothers me with the NFL coverage. It feels like, they got something. They had needs, and they got that guy. There are times when you go, man, I know it's your biggest moment getting drafted, but there are just certain picks where you go, I don't get what you're doing. And I never understood Anthony Bennett. Jay, I remember watching him, and I didn't know who the best player on the floor was when I was watching UNLV. And that's hard to do if you're going to be the number 1 pick and I'm watching you play and I don't realize you're supposed to be the best player.
Yeah, it might not have been the best year in the draft. So, we weren't expecting that as a surprise. I mean, but what I was kind of talking about is like there was one year, I don't remember the year, but a player from BYU named Rafael Araujo got drafted, I think number 8. And I did not think he was an NBA player. And if that happened now, where I felt that way, I think I would have made the point calmly instead of making it the volume I did. Like, it's like almost like I was insulted. That was certainly the wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I remember I was like, Oladipo might be the best player. I remember arguing with Chris Mannix. I said, Oladipo is a better player than Anthony Bennett. Not that he's that much better, but I know that he's better than him. But that's I love the honest reaction. Not quite Bill Simmons' reaction, but still, it's pretty entertaining. All right, great to talk to you, bud. Have fun.
Great to be with you, bro.
Thank you.
Be good.
That's Jay Bilas earlier this morning. Once again, we did not bring up Giannis is going to be traded, according to Shams, prior to the draft. And also, Dusty May is leaving Michigan to coach the Dallas Mavericks.